Hi, this is Peter on the couch again with Archie and Bella, and talking about relationships, many different aspects of relationships that we can cover. And on this particular video, I want to cover some things that really become an issue for people, or blind spots for people, and that is the question of why and how relationships get started. We have the situation whereby we come into contact and we start a relationship, and down the line, a lot of the times with many people, it starts to unravel after a certain honeymoon period, as it's called, starts to move forward, and we start to question who we're with. Why is that? What's really going on? Well, there's two factors there I want to address on this. One is the reasons we get into relationships in the first place. Now, there are many different reasons, obviously, but a lot of them are unconscious. A lot of the reasons we get involved we're not aware of. We have a biological imperative to really connect, to really be in union and partnership with. That's something that we don't get to fight. It's a natural instinct. But the psychological reasons are what I want to talk about. If you get into a relationship, it's usually started through proximity and or chemistry. And therefore, we choose a mate, we choose somebody we like, and we start dating them and we move in. But there's an underlying reason behind that pushed us to that relationship in the first place. I'll give you some examples. If you're in a relationship because the reason you started because you don't want to be alone, then mostly in my experience, those kind of relationships have a very limited future, or they remain in proximity but with lack of fulfillment. And the reason for that is that if you don't like being alone, and therefore you want to go and find a relationship with somebody else, you'll usually attract somebody else who feels alone. What's the challenge with that? Well, here it is. It means that there's now a relationship with two of you who are alone. At that point, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 11. Because it's not about proximity at the level where you're trying to fulfill a gap inside. You could be lonely in a crowd of 10,000 people in a football stadium and still feel alone. It has nothing to do with proximity. It has everything to do with you not being comfortable with who's in the mirror. So, if you're lonely and you're seeking somebody because you don't want to be alone, you're craving connection, all you're looking for at that point is a temporary fulfillment or an abstention of pain in an area of life where you think being with somebody will cure an inner void. And of course it never does. It can distract you, but wherever you go in a relationship or out of a relationship, you're going to be taking you with you. And if you're not happy with the person in the mirror, then nobody else coming into that equation is going to be able to fulfill that gap. So, other than a distraction. So, I like to say it's like a half circle. If people are walking around like a half circle feeling incomplete, looking for another half circle to join together so they can feel whole and complete, it's never going to happen. What happens is you find another half circle, and now there's two half circles that are moving forward in life. So what's the answer to that? Well, if you can complete yourself as a full circle, which means that you don't need somebody else in a relationship in order to feel good about yourself, then you are free to go and choose to be in a relationship. Now, why is that important? Because unless you don't need somebody, you're not free to love somebody. I'll say that again. If you need somebody to be with you, you cannot love that which you need. Why? Because you can't put a basis of unconditional love on something that you have a fear of loss about, because that will breed codependency. It will breed fear of loss. You'll start making decisions not from a place of love, but from a place of, how do I please this partner so that they don't leave me? How do I act in this relationship so that I can maintain this relationship? And unfortunately, you then start to enter into a level of inauthenticity which becomes a mask. And many people wear many different masks in relationship. And what's the big cry from women these days? It's like, where are all the people who are authentic? Or the guys, oh, why can't she just tell me what she means? Well, that's a language issue, and guys, get over it. That's never actually going to happen. We'll get into that on another video, in terms of the actual nuances of masculine and feminine language. But being authentic in a relationship is really the foundation for it to be able to move forward with some sense of longevity and purpose that can really light both of you up. When you are playing your own music on your own, you don't need somebody else to come and pluck your strings. If you are playing beautiful music on your own and you join with somebody else who's playing beautiful music on their own, then you have a symphony. Then you can really harmonize together. But if you're saying, oh, my music sucks, I need somebody else to come and play with me so that the music we create sounds good, you've got the wrong foundation. If you're starting a relationship because you are looking for convenience, you want somebody to share the journey with so that you can take the kids to school, or have somebody provide as an extra income so that you can try to get the life you want, those are reasons other people start relationships. Now, obviously, there's no basis there for unconditional love. That's more of a relationship that happened or evolved throughout the early part of the 20th century into the 1950s, whereby it was a case of the men stereotypically were the breadwinners and the women stereotypically were the house goddesses, and it was a trade-off. There was no unconditional love. It was a case of, I do this, you do that. It was a horse trade. And a lot of people still get involved in relationships unconsciously because they're a horse trade. You're fulfilling my needs for being, having certainty about love, for having, somebody in my life so I'm not lonely, to have somebody to take care of the kids alongside me, to have somebody to, have children with. They're my needs and I'm focused on that. And I don't mind being in relationship with you to try and fill your needs if we do that. But that's a horse trade. It's not a basis for unconditional love, which is where true fulfillment of relationships come from. So my question for you this week and on this video is, why did you get involved in the relationship that you did? Now, if you can't answer that objectively, it's because you were probably sleeping awake. You unconsciously stumbled into something that felt good in the moment, and then it kind of just progressed, and you're kind of now still there. And if the reason you're still in a relationship tomorrow is because you were in the relationship today, it may be time to start questioning how to bring some vitality, some life back into that for the real reasons why you want to be there, not why you just happen to be there. So ask yourself questions. Why am I in this relationship? And if I am in this relationship and it still serves me to be so, what can I do to take it to the next level by adding value to the partner that I'm with? How do I light up the person that I'm with? How do I make them feel more significant, more loved, more connected, more important, more validated? Because that's what most people are in relationships for that stuff. And if we play the role of how do I light up my partner rather than how do I complain at them when they don't fit my pictures that I expect them to light me up with, then we start to really shift into a different sense of relationship. We start to contribute and grow together rather than sit there and complain the fact that they just no longer meet my needs and therefore why should I bother meeting theirs? So on this video, I just wanted to touch on that. Why do we get into relationships? Why did you specifically get into the relationship that you're in? Or if you're single right now, why did the last relationship end? And did it have something to do with the reason that you chose to get into that, consciously or otherwise, which may not have been a reason that served you in the long term, but may have really tried to just fill a short-term gap? So that's my question for this week. And it's really a time to reflect on who is in the mirror. What would it take to fill that full circle if you feel something is missing there at this point? And we're going to get into many more of these discussions and many more insights that can really help you take your life to the level where you are celebrating it independently and then with somebody, through amplifying that sense of personal fulfillment and taking it to the next level. So I hope it's been useful, and I will see you with hopefully Archie and Bella, who have no cares in the world right now, on the next video.